Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I have to put on a voice wearing this get up. Hey everyone, we've come to the end of another Booker Prize season, and hasn't it been fun reading all the books and discussing them and debating all these novels, and some of them we've liked or even loved, and some of them we've not liked as much, but we've had a lot of good discussion about it, which I think is the important thing, and has meant that we've had a lot of fun, or at least more fun than certain people who just cynically dismiss a list of books as soon as a book prize announces it. Yes, so I'm all suited up again because the Booker Prize winner is going to be announced this evening. It's currently the afternoon of Monday, October 14th, and as is tradition now in the past couple of years, I've taken you along to see a glimpse behind the scenes of the Booker Prize party and all the excitement of before the actual announcement, and I'm going to take you along to that again, but it's very special this year because in past years I've only been invited along to the drinks before the awards ceremony when it's actually announced what the winner is. But this year, I've been invited to the actual dinner and whole awards ceremony, so I can take you along to the whole thing. So that's really exciting. So yes, this year Cinderella is going to the ball, and you know, it's really special and exciting because I first came to the UK almost 20 years ago, and when I first came here, I followed the Booker Prize like really closely and loved watching it all on TV and all the excitement. Because, you know, it's a big celebration around books, and how often do we get that in our lives? And now I'm going to the actual ceremony for the prize. So it's really wonderful and special, and I'm glad I can take you along to show you some of it, because it's been so lovely discussing all the books with everyone, and I feel so lucky to be going to this. So I'm glad and really grateful that I can like share some of it. I don't know how much I'll be able to film because, you know, it's quite a posh event, and if I'm sat there at a dinner table near the Duchess of Cornwall, who often comes to the Booker Prize party, I don't want to just like get out my phone and say like, hey, do you mind if I vlog this? But I'll show you what I can and try to film as much as possible. But before I go out to that, I just want to briefly discuss the shortlist, who I think will win, who I want to win, and just feel a bit about the shortlist in general. So it has been really interesting with this group of books this year, and it's notable. I've been reading some articles all about the shortlist and speculation about what might win, and there was an article by John Self which I thought was really good, which pointed out how diverse this group of books is. I mean, all of these authors, each one was born in a different country. So we have authors that were born in India, in Nigeria, in Turkey, in the United Kingdom, the United States, and Canada. So it's quite a big spread. And obviously there's 4 female authors on the list and 2 men. And it is the first time in the Booker Prize's 50-year history that there is not a white man on the shortlist, which feels quite significant in a small way. And also it's quite notable that it's quite heavy to hold up all these books because a lot of them are quite thick, and the average length of all these books, if you combine all the page numbers and divide them by 6, you get 530 pages. So, you know, they're quite chunky novels. And even though I've enjoyed following this year's Booker Prize so much and reading all of these novels, I have to say, now that I've read all 6 of the shortlisted novels, I'm a bit disappointed by the shortlist compared to the long list, which I sort of thought was a lot stronger. I mean, certainly if I was a judge, I would have picked a different shortlist to this. Nevertheless, I think there are some really, really great novels on this list. And if you want to get a sense of what it's like being a Booker judge, there was an interesting article recently that Afua Hirsch published, who's one of the judges for the Booker Prize this year, about what it was like judging the prize and reading so many 151 novels over the course of 6 months, which even by us, you know, dedicated readers, that's a lot of books, especially ones of this length. So that gives quite like interesting insight into the prize. But if I were a judge and it was my choice to make, I'd have to organize the books like this, and you can see it goes from my top choice to my bottom choice on the bottom. So yes, The novel that I liked the least was Salman Rushdie's He Shot, and I've talked about this book before and reasons why. But you know, it's not too surprising that this book made the shortlist because, like I said in my video speculating about what might be on the long list this year, one of the judges, Liz Calder, she was actually one of the first people to publish Salman Rushdie and was a big champion of his and helped launch his career. So you know, it's not too surprising that she's very sympathetic with his work, or at least I assume she was a big cheerleader for this novel for it to be on the shortlist. And then next on the list, which is Chigozie Obiama's An Orchestra of Minorities. And I'd read this before the long list was even announced and had issues with certain aspects of it. And, you know, I found sections of the novel really moving, but other parts of it just didn't work as well for me. So, you know, I probably wouldn't have chosen it for this year's shortlist. And then Margaret Atwood's novel, which was, you know, I was so happy to get caught up in the excitement of it and hugely enjoyed reading this book. It was really gripping and also found it very moving in both its politics and the emotional pull of its story. But, you know, there are parts of it that did feel so predictable, and that's what really made it feel like I was a bit let down by it. So then we are left with these three novels, and really I would be happy if any of these three authors won the prize. But if I had to be a really like hard judge and make a hard decision, I would say, even though I found Elif Shafak's novel incredibly moving in some parts and really enjoyed it, like especially at the end. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism about the last big section of this novel and how it ends, but I found that's what made the novel really work for me. But anyway, if I were forced to make a choice, I would probably say that these two novels are stronger. And yeah, I think both of these novels are really, really great, and if nothing, this prize has done nothing else, it encouraged me to read these two novels, and I don't know if I would have got around to reading them if it hadn't been for the prize. So I'm really grateful to it for that, because I think they're both really brilliant. I mean, they do very different things. They're very different kinds of novels. So, you know, it's so difficult to choose between them. And honestly, it doesn't really matter to me personally which author wins, because I already won as a reader because I got to enjoy the great experience of both of these novels. But if I was forced to make a choice, again, just being forced to thing again, I would guess that I think that Girl, Woman, Other is going to win, but I would want Ducks Newburyport to win. That would be. So that's sort of how I think it's going to go. But, you know, who really knows? I mean, there has been a lot of support for both of these novels in different camps. I've been surprised by seeing the amount of responses, but there's been some great support for some of the other novels as well. And honestly, the judges could go either way. I mean, it's been said before that trying to guess who's going to win the Booker Prize is like playing posh bingo. Obviously, they think all of these novels are really strong and worthy winners. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. And I'm gonna stop waffling on now and actually go along to the Booker Prize and try to film as much as possible to show you. And I am really excited to see who the winner is. So here we go. So it's been raining really hard all day, but luckily I got to the train station in between showers, so I'm still dry. I made it here into the city without any train delays, which is something of a miracle given the bad weather. So here I am near the steps of St. Paul's, and I just want to take a moment to appreciate that I am living my Mary Poppins fantasy. So these are specially designed editions of the novels just for the novelists themselves. I've made it here inside the gorgeous Guildhall. I've got a glass of bubbly, and yeah, people are just arriving. You can see there's some authors being interviewed behind me. So yeah, it's all quite exciting. Now we sit down to dinner. I've been told it's quite long. There's about 2 hours until the actual announcement is made.
What a year. When I said to a friend recently that I'd been asked to say a few words tonight on how winning the Man Booker last year affected me, he said, I know, for a laugh's sake, nothing's changed. And we laughed because the reality for me is that everything changed. On the night itself, I heard my name and my book's name being called, and that was the start of an extraordinary delight, which I am still in. When a few knowledgeable individuals told me, not long after the win, that I'd find my life was going to change, I hadn't a clue as to the scale of what they were talking about. The reality over this year is that I haven't been around such a volume of activity, movement, people, adventure, excitement, and new situations. I was going to say in a long time, but actually it's really ever. The part of my life that changed first and most noticeably was my finances, also that long-term emotional state that goes along with not having any. When I write, it is to get the book that wants to come out of me, but that book and the characters in it don't concern themselves with how I keep myself during the process. They don't care about anything that goes on outside of the book concerning me, my health, my wealth, my social life, my state of nerves, the world, anything. Although I can say without a doubt that following my heart and my instincts to write has given me the best job satisfaction ever that I've experienced, it has also, up until last year, given me the smallest paycheck. Winning the Man Booker changed that for me. It has brought me sales, worldwide sales, translations into many languages, a big readership, gorgeous supportive letters, cards and gifts from people from all over the world who have taken the time to write to tell me what my book and my writing means to them. Not only is that an unexpected and a wonderful nourishment for me, it's also an indication of the cultural reach and importance of this prize. Before I end, I'd like to share the biggest gain for me from winning the Man Booker, as it was called last year. The biggest gain wasn't cultural or literary, though I am undyingly grateful for the recognition and the literary acclaim that has exploded into my life and into my creative process as a result. Neither has the biggest gain been financial, though that's very nice, thank you. The most valuable gift for me that has come from winning this prestigious prize has been the renewal of connections with my family, especially my sisters and brothers, after we had lost touch with each other for decades. When I was thinking of what to say in this speech, I wondered whether to mention this miraculous, unforeseen consequence, mainly because it was so personal to me, rather than a given for everyone who wins the Booker. But just as in the creative process, a very small occurrence, which could be something you see or hear or think, and which at the time you might not consider to be anything, can stick in your head and become that little seed that eventually grows into a novel, and in some cases, a Booker Prize-winning novel. Sometimes too, an enormous international phenomenon, such as the Booker, does the opposite and can bring about the smallest, most delicate, lovely but domestic effect which goes unnoticed in the wider world. That is what happened for me with this reconnection that has taken place with my family. This also included the opportunity to meet for the first time a new generation of my family, which otherwise I would never have got to know. And I can't thank the man Booker, stroke Booker, enough for that. And thank you for listening. Thanks.
The fact that 11% of Americans carry on driving when the fuel tank empty light comes on. The fact that they think it would be more like 80% rotten chicken feed. The fact that there are macrophages then. The fact that I dreamt I flew all the way to India to get a teaspoon of cinnamon. But when I got home, I realized I needed flaked almonds too. Security, holding pattern, go figure, not in my backyard. The fact that we have to do our taxes and try to remember every little bit of income and expenditure. The fact that there was more of the latter than the former.
All right, it's very pretty, isn't it? It's a big deal for you to say that.
Where you are reducing the number of books that you celebrate. And not only, to be honest, do I not want one winner of this prize, I want the long list back as well. And I, if you'll forgive me, would like to pay tribute to that long list and the 7 writers who are not in the room tonight. Kevin Barry, Oinkan Brathwaite, John Lanchester, Deborah Levy, Valeria Rizeri, Max Porter and Jeanette Winterson. Their books are wonderful. And the breadth and depth of this long list is a tribute to the spectacular brilliance of publishers and of editors and of agents, and also all the people who work with the Booker Prize, the librarians, the booksellers, even the journalists. We love this shortlist. We love these 6 books. We love the project that Margaret Atwood has developed from The Handmaid's Tale into this book of testimonies. We love this examination of complicity and resilience and resistance. We love the language, we love the storytelling power, we love the ambition. We love the sheer chutzpah of Lucy Ellman's mammoth, wonderful tome, Ducks Newburyport. It is one of the great comic deliveries I have ever encountered, and a worthy echo of James Joyce and Ulysses. These books talk to each other, they talk to books of the past, and they formed an extraordinary connection that I hope everyone who gets to read all of them will understand and enjoy as much as we have. We love Bernadine's Evaristo's prolific girl, woman, other, of giving voice to people who are not always articulated, of making the invisible visible. We love Chigozie Obibiuma's Orchestra of Minorities, and that exploration of masculinity that also gives us another extraordinary narrator, his Chi, and a vision of what the journey might be like for an everyman who doesn't happen to be the king of Ithaca. We love the bravura performance of Salman Rushdie's Quixote, a maximalist compendium of so much knowledge, so much story, so much energy and beautiful language that feels as if it has recreated not only a relationship with Cervantes' great novel, 500 years old, but has also a really serious examination of contemporary America and of India and of literature. And we loved the humanity of Elif Shafak's 10 minutes 38 seconds in this strange world. The idea that we know Tequila Layla and her friends. We understand that a life is a series of incidents and histories, but is also the impact that that life has on everybody else, the friends who we choose to make our family. We've operated as a jury on the basis of consensus. Today, we tried voting. Didn't work. We found that there were two novels, not that we couldn't let go of, but that we desperately wanted to win this year's prize. So we're awarding the prize jointly to both of them. There are two winners of this year's Booker Prize who will share this honour and this money. And I would like to invite the authors up and to speak in alphabetical, if that's not traditional order. The two winners of the 2019 Booker Prize for Fiction are Margaret Atwood for The Testaments and Bernadine.
Thank you so much. This is incredible. I suppose a lot of people say this, I never thought it would happen to me. And I will say that I'm the first woman to win this prize. Yeah. Who has been publishing me for 20 years, has always believed in me, and as I always say, I've never made him much money, but he's continued to publish me, and I'm so deeply grateful for that. He's just the best editor.
Well, what a surprise that was. Now, I have to be very quick because my battery is very low and it's going to run out. But I never expected that would be those two winners. I mean, when he said there was going to be two winners, I was sure it was going to be Lucy Ellman and Bernadine Evaristo. But no, Atwood and Evaristo. Wow. I mean, I sort of agree with, it was funny what Margaret Atwood said in her speech, which I didn't have a chance to catch on video. But she sort of admitted, like I didn't need the attention for this, and there are other authors that need it more, so she was really glad that Evaristo was also winner of the prize. But I also do have to add a little bit of a gossip that I heard that this was a very controversial decision, and the judges took an extra half hour to decide who was going to be the winner today. They were in deliberations and they had to go into multiple meetings to try to decide this, because there was actually a rule a few years ago that was made to stop there being two winners, because there's been a few years when there's been joint winners before and it wasn't supposed to happen again, but it did happen again this year. But I guess that goes to show how passionate the judges were about these choices. So let me know what you think of the joint winners. Have you read both of them, and are you excited to read both of them now? I do still have the feeling that I want to go back and read Girl, Woman, Other again, because out of all the novels, it's one that I think there'll be a more rich reading experience from it the second time, where there's more to discover of interconnectedness between the characters. But this has been such a wonderful evening. A teacher came up to me and said that she actually teaches my blog in her class to students, the reviews that I write, which is incredible. It's amazing. And I had a lovely moment with Lucy Ellman afterwards, where she thanked me for all of the support I've given for the novel, and said that I'll always be part of her Cinnamon Buns Ducks Club, which is just a lovely sentiment. So thank you for following me with this journey of the Booker Prize this year, and let me know what you think in the comments, and let's have a chat about it.